shape the top of your Flexee Loom beanie today on GoodKnit Kisses. We're going to work with the multiple of 8. So if you have a cast on of 64, 72, 80, 88, or 96 on your Flexee Loom skinny, we're going to do this up today. Just make sure you've got the length of your hat and you're ready to go. Welcome to GoodKnit Kisses. We're all about helping you stitch your love and love your stitches. The pattern I'm showing you is my Edelweiss hat, and you can get that pattern down in the links below. You can also apply this to the basic beanie hat or my Fair Isle hat, or really any hat that has a multiple of 8. I'm right at the point where I need to start shaping my top. So I've got my stitch marker and I am working in this direction. I'll have another video working in the opposite direction as well. So you can click down in the links below to get that. And I do have a link to get the Edelweiss stitch if you need to know how to work that stitch. All right, so I've got my pattern. Be sure and pull up your written instructions on the blog in a separate tab, or you can print them off from the PDF if you want to get one of those. So there should be a link on the blog for that. This is what this format looks like on the PDF. So it might be laid out a little bit different on the blog for you. Right here is what you need to see on the second page where we talk about sizes. I do have 5 sizes in this one: toddler, small, child, medium, and large. The directions that I'm working with are the first number here, which is toddler. Okay, it has, let me scoot over here, it has a cast on of 64 stitches. If you're working with a child, you've got a cast on of 72, 80 for the small, 88 for the medium, and 96 for the large. Whenever you're reading patterns and they say numbers, just remember which position your number is that you're working on. And if you see a number with parentheses next to it, just work on the one number for your size only for that particular pattern, okay? So let's jump over to page 4, or really it's the top of this one where it says shape top for Flexee Loom. Now this is for this particular pattern, but you can use this on any of the Flexee Looms which has a top divisible by 8. Okay, so if your stitch pattern is a division of 8, then you can use the same instruction. Okay, so we're going to be decreasing by moving peg 2 to peg 1 and knitting together, and I'm going to show you that in the demonstration part of the video. There is a note here about stitch markers if you want to use them. I don't use them in the video, but you can if you want. Now, in between each round, I'm going to come back to this paper and just refer to the correct noted number for your size. But note that this video throughout is concentrating on this size, which is these 64 stitches. And if you see, it looks like they're all separated by 1. That's on purpose. So each round, this number, whatever it is, gets to be 1 less. Each time we have a decrease round. You see the decrease, and I have a 6. The next round that we decrease on, you can see that we have a 5 and 4, 3, 2, and you'll see that go that way. It's the same for all sizes. Now, I'm going to say in this next part of our video with the demonstration, if you have the largest size and this pattern says 10, go with the 10. I'm going to say 6 and show 6. We will be removing loom links. Right here it says remove empty loom link every other time we are decreasing. And when we pull those links out, your color of your link may be different than mine on the film, but as long as you're counting to the right number here, you'll be totally fine. Now, after we work each of these decreased rounds, I'll come back and I'll tell you how many stitches you should have in your peg, kind of as a double check, and what you're going to work the next time. So I know this is a long intro, but I want you to know all this very nitty-gritty important information. Okay, so this next segment, you're going to see me working. We're going to decrease. I'll show you how to do that. You're going to work your personal number here, even though I say 6. So if you're a small, you're going to do, if you're a toddler, you're going to do 6. For the child, it's 7. The small is 8. The medium is 9 and the large is 10. Then you're going to move those down because you've made an empty peg. You move them down towards that empty peg. Then you decrease again and it frees up a loom link that you didn't take off. And then you have to knit that same number that you just did. And then you're repeating that. So let's show you now in this next segment how to work round 1. In round 1, we're going to make a decrease, and all of our decreases are worked the same way. You're going to pick up peg 2, so we've got a pair of pegs here, peg 1 with the marker, and peg 2 is right next to it. pick up 2 and put it on 1. Okay, and then we are going to work those 2 stitches together by knitting them together. Doesn't matter if it's an SSK or a K2 tog, you're just working those 2 stitches together. And now you're going to knit 6 stitches, and you're going to move them along. So we're going to pick up them one by one and move them over towards the decrease that we just made. So I've got 1 and 2, move that over, and 3, move it over, 4, 5, and 6. And now we want to make another decrease, and when we decrease, we are going to place the 2 peg on the 1, oops, there we go, and knit those 2 together, and we're going to move that stitch over. And then now we're going to take out this link here. And connect it back together. And then continue by working 6 knit stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you're going to repeat that same section over here. So you just begin again at your repeat where you decrease 1, moving the 2 to the 1, knitting those 2 stitches together, and knit your stitches one by one. You're going to knit 6 of them and move them over as you do. Now we're decreasing again and moving that over, and then removing our peg or our link here, snapping that back together, and then knitting 6 more. So you're just going to repeat this process all the way around the loom until your first peg, your first marker. Pause your video and I'll see you there. At the end of round 1, you should have 56 stitches, 64, 72, 80, or 88 stitches for all your sizes. Again, you originally knit 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 for your in-between stitches, in between those decreases, and you should have removed all of those extra loom links that were on there. So now we're going to jump onto round 2. For round 2 and all even rounds, we're going to be just knitting the stitches all the way around. So you're just going to go ahead and work those stitches in the round. We're not doing any imitation of the pattern of the stitches. It is just a complete knit decreased crown of the hat. All right, work this round, pause your video, and I'll meet you back up for round 3. See you soon. We're on round 3, and you're going to have a decrease as you did last time, and then we're going to knit the same way we did as before, but now we've decreased it by 1. So we're going to knit 5 for the toddler, 6 for the child, 7 for the small, 8 for the medium, and 9 for the large, and continue just as you did before. Now, if you are on the child size, you could go ahead and start watching the video from round 1 so that it just follows it naturally as we go along. And for the other sizes, definitely look at your pattern here to make sure that you are following the correct number. Okay, eventually all of these will go all the way down till you have 8 stitches remaining, and I'll have instructions down below. We'll go over that in a little bit, but I'm going to come back in between these rounds and tell you where you can jump to in the video just to make it more convenient if you want. All right, let's get into the tutorial. And for round 3, we're going to do very similar to what we did before, but instead of knitting 6 after we decrease, we're going to knit just 5, and then of course we'll start removing links again. So how we begin again is we do a decrease by moving the second peg over to the first peg, working them both together, knitting them both together for our decrease, and then knit and move over 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we need to decrease again. I'm going to move our 2 peg to our 1 and work those 2 together. And then we have a situation where if I move this over 1 here, it's just going to put it in the middle where we can't remove a link. So I can just move this stitch back 1 and then remove this link here, and that's just easier. So remove that link and snap it back together, and we're ready to continue on. And now we need to knit the 4 remaining. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 1 more. And then we repeat here, beginning with a new decrease set, just like we did over here. All right, so continue working around, pause your video, and I'll meet you back up after this round. See you soon. Round 4, go ahead and work all the way around knitting, and we'll meet back up for round 5. Pause your video, and I'll see you there. At the end of round 3, your numbers should be 48, 56, 64, 72, and 80. And then of course you just did your knit round in between. So we are going to start the decreases for round 5. Now we are at knit 4 for the toddler, 5 for the child, 6 for the small, which matches up with that round 1 if you want to go all the way back and rewind from that point, 7 for the medium, and 8 for the large, decreasing as usual. So if you want to look ahead, these are the numbers that you need when you're finishing this round, but of course I'll come back to you before we begin round 7 and just go ahead and talk about that as well. So go ahead and do round 5 and see the tutorial next. I'm ready to begin round 5, and we're doing the same thing again. We're just decreasing and knitting 4 stitches. So I hope you're seeing the pattern emerge. Every other round where we decrease, we are diminishing or decreasing the amount of stitches. And the first round we knit 6 after decrease. The third time, or the third round, which is our second decrease, we knit 5 stitches, and then we did 4 this round, or we're about to do 4 this round. So go ahead and decrease, and then knit your 4, and then taking off those pegs. So knit 2 together, knit and move 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we have our decrease, move the 2 to a 1, and decrease, moving that over, and removing our loom link, and connecting again, and knitting 4. 1. Oh, and after I remove loom link, sometimes I go ahead and tighten that up a little bit, just so that it remains a consistent stitch there, or consistent tension. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. And continue that repeating of decreasing all the way around. And after this round, do a knit round. So I'm not going to re-emphasize the knit rounds, pausing the video. So go ahead and finish round 5, and I'll meet you back at round 7. See you soon. Round 7 follows, of course, 6, where we just knit all the way around, as in round 2 and all the alternate rounds. And you should have, of course, 40 stitches, 48, 56, 64, or 72. You're going to decrease again, and we're now knitting 3 for the smallest size, which is toddler. Then for the child, it's 4. For the small, it's 5, and now for the medium, it's 6, which means, yes, you can jump back up to round 1 and follow the video like I've suggested for the other sizes, and continue on. And these are your sizes for the end of this round when you're done with it. So let's move on to the demonstration. And now we're ready for round 7. We're going to decrease again. Knit those 2 stitches together, and now we're going to knit and move over 3. So knitting 3, and we continue in the same way that we've been doing, moving these 3, decreasing and removing a link, and continuing knitting the 3, and repeating all the way around the loom. All right, so continue that, and pause your video, and we'll meet you back up for round 9. See you soon. Round 9, we are decreasing again, and we're knitting 2 for the toddler size, 3 for the child, 4 for the small, 5 for the medium, and now 6 for the large, which means now everybody who's making large can jump up to round 1 and rewind your video and watch the demonstration from there on out, so that you can kind of follow these as they go along if that's what you like to do. Otherwise, you can follow the written pattern and continue as well. So you're going to continue working these, moving the empty pegs, repeating that same thing throughout, and then these are the numbers that you will end with. So make sure you are knitting your rounds in between. So remember, those even rounds are always knit all the way around. And now we're ready for round 9. We're just going to decrease once and then make 2 knit stitches, and of course moving them over as before. So I think you've got this. You don't need me for this part, so just continue on and then make your knit round after that, and we'll join you back up with the round 11. We'll see you soon. At the beginning of round 11, you should have 24 pegs, or 32 for child, 40 for small, 48 for medium, and 56 for the large. So we're going to begin round 11 with decreasing, and we're going to knit 1 for the toddler, 2 for child, 3 for small, 4 for medium, and 5 for large, doing our same repeats throughout as we've been doing, and these will be the stitches that you end on for the end of round 11. So make sure, again, you're knitting that round in between that is even, just knitting all the way around. All right, here is the demonstration. So round 11 is just decrease and knit 1 and decrease, knit 1, and just continue
until
on.
you end up with 16 stitches, 24, 32, 40, and 48 stitches for the larger size.
Repeating with a knit round. So decrease, knit 1 all the way around, and do a knit round. So I'll see you at the end of that for our very last round. All right, pause your video and I will see you there. All right, so you have ended yours with 16 pegs. All of them should be at 16 pegs if you had done my tip on rewinding the video when you got to that special point. But if not, you're going to still pay careful attention to these numbers. So if you had done what I was suggesting, then you will just be decreasing, and then where it says knit 0, just ignore that number and then do the other decrease again and move the empty link, and then repeating all the way around. And then you're going to be breaking the yarn and leaving a long tail and continuing on to the finishing section that's down at the very end of the pattern. It's just depending upon what size you're on. So starting this round out, if you are already at 16 stitches, then follow this. If you're at these other stitches, pay attention to these numbers. I hope that makes sense, but in the demonstration that follows this, I'm only going to be talking about doing it exactly how it is on this round because I had 0 left. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Let's continue watching the actual demonstration and then we'll do finishing. All right, so we've done round 12, knitting around one more time, and now we're just going to decrease all stitches. So we're going to be taking the remaining stitches and reducing it in half, and you'll have several of these you're going to take off as you go, but you're only going to leave about 5 links of these on and not connect the last one. So let's go ahead and start doing this. We're going to move the 2 peg over to the 1 and knit that together. This is round 13, and then we're going to decrease the next one. You can just decrease them on that peg there and knit that and move it over, and then that link will disappear now. Still want to connect them so that you can get the consistent stitches, and then go ahead and pull the slack out and go ahead and decrease again. And repeat. Move that over, and you can get rid of another link. And decrease again. And decrease again. Move over and take off another link. And I've got 5 left on here now. So which is, let's see, these are, when I say 5, I have 5 links left on here. And I can go ahead and decrease again. And then the last one, when I decrease this one, I don't need to worry about taking out that link and connecting, but we are decreasing it. So on this particular size, I have 8 stitches remaining. Go ahead and you're going to cut off your tail. This is what's on the ball band now. And then take a tapestry needle and weave it on through, or you can use your hook and just go to the first peg and start pulling through your tail. And I'm just going to pull right upwards from here. And I just save my tapestry needle till later, but some people like to pull it through here. And I just put it underneath my loops and then just pull it all the way through, going all the way around. And then you'll just pull this off of the loom and weave in your tails. And then you can block it as needed. And then I'll show you what mine looks like in the end. I'll see you in a moment. So we just pull this tight at the end and thread our needle. And then you can just pull it on through the last stitch here one more time. And then I like to go on the inside and finish off and tie in and weave in my tails. But this is what it looks like on our finished crown. I hope you enjoyed learning about how to make your decreased crown here at GoodKnit Kisses. Be sure and click down on the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any more stitches and tutorials with GoodKnit Kisses, where we teach you how to loom knit, needle knit, and crochet. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you on the next video.
Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.